A very warm welcome to the news in details. Now, the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, is looking at how there can be a global convergence of quality standards, especially ones related to the circular economy. Starting Monday, representatives from member countries will be meeting in Kigali for a conference which will study how such changes can be implemented without negatively affecting developing nations. Adam Squizera has this report.
At the beginning, 40 countries, including those from African continent and other developing countries, were the first to meet and share ideas on the broad lines that will be taken to establish those quality standards. Those are the regulations that aims to promote a circular economy, which is characterized by leasing, tracking and sharing industrial products that can be renewed, expanded or repaired. Catherine Chauvoche, the head of technical group for the establishment of these quality standards at the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, points out that these discussions aims to harmonize the quality standards used worldwide with the nature of industry production and population's needs.
Our objectives are to define what circular economy is, the principles of circular economy, how you share value, how you retain value along the value chain, to be able to better repair products, to be able to better recycle products and avoid generation of waste, for instance. We also write standards regarding how to push circular economy in our businesses, to respect climate change, to respect biodiversity losses, and to propose an alternative economic system to the current one. Okay, it's a great pleasure to be here in Rwanda, especially in Rwanda and in Africa, but in Rwanda because we know that in this country we have a good feeling about circular economy, and what I expect from this week is that all the countries we have there, we will be around 60 countries, to be able to share together about circular economy and to propose to improve the draft we already have, to be able to publish the standard by beginning of 2024. We know that circular economy could be an alternative to our current economic system. Why? Because we are all in the same planet, we have some finite resources, and we are using these resources, but depending the countries. For instance, Western countries and North America countries use a lot of resources, whereas some other countries, especially in Africa, are not able to use the resources, or the resources are in their country, but the resources are used by other countries. So with the circular economy, we would like to push to rebalance this kind of use of resources, and to be able to push to renewable resources, not to virgin resources, and to be able to design our product and our service in a different way.
The Director General of Rwanda Standards Board, Murenzi Raymond, notes that this meeting will also focus on the opinions of the representatives of African countries and other developing countries, so that they will be not affected by those regulations. We first discussed on the ways we can influence their standards by including our opinions on the establishment of these regulations of quality standards. As for Rwanda, we contributed in organizing this meeting and establishing world guidelines. On Monday, Rwanda will be hosting an international conference that will bring together 85 countries across the world, and it will also evaluate projects related to quality standards aimed to promote circular economy. This is the first time this meeting is going to take place in Africa. Adam Squizera, RTV News.
Those in the health sector have announced that more than 350 billion Rwandan francs are needed to reduce by 25% deaths that occur as a result of non-communicable diseases by 2025. Nuriat Agasaro has this report.
Non-communicable diseases such as respiratory, heart, diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer and other are the cause of death of about 30% in Rwanda. Nambaj Elias is a kidney patient who has formed an association, and Philippa Chibugu, a breast cancer survivor, and she's campaigning against it.
Rwanda is a dream country. In 28 years, we did not have the resources that are necessary for, say, for instance, we didn't have the Rwanda Cancer Center. I get biased because this is what I focus on. But it is doing, it's everything. They have educated, we have more skilled manpower, and others are also going. We have interest in having a strong country based on better health. You can't be strong without strong health. So a lot is being invested in health and awareness.
I participate in these physical activities. They help me to reduce because I have the problem of high blood pressure. So when I participate in those physical activities, at least it maintains the high blood pressure is maintained at the normal level. But when I don't participate, that's when there is a high blood pressure.
According to Dr. Evariste Ntaganda, who is in charge of NCDs at Rwanda Biomedical Center, says statistics show that in Rwanda, diabetes has reached 2.9%, blood pressure has reached 16.8%, heart disease has reached 3.2%, and smoking, the main cause of respiratory diseases, has reached 7%. He says that those diseases can be prevented for free because some of the medical services are close to the people.
We have now done decentralization of NCDs depending on the severity of disease. Of course, you are not going to, if you can treat hypertension in health center and diabetes, you are not going to treat like cancer of advanced stage in the same facility. So they didn't go to other levels like provincial hospital or teaching hospitals or even like King Faisal. You have seen people who come for open heart surgery. The service is still growing. We need more efforts to be put in because we have so many people, long list of people need surgery. So, but at least there is a trend that we are taking in terms of fighting non-communicable diseases.
From 2020 to 2025, Rwanda will need over 350 billion Rwandan francs to reduce death from those diseases by 25%. Professor Joseph Muchumbisi, Chief Consultant Pediatrician and Cardiologist and Director of the 26 organizations that monitor the problem of patients with non-communicable diseases, says that Rwanda was rewarded by the United Nations in its 77th General Assembly, which recently held a meeting in New York, United States.
We are ready to continue to work with the government and the RBC and CD division to continue working for the implementation of this national strategy, which has an ambitious target of reducing by 25% the number of deaths due to NCDs at the horizon 2025. It is an ambitious target, but with a high-level coordination committee for NCDs, with a technical working group for NCDs supporting it, and with the involvement of the private and public sector, we think it can be done. And we are ready to play our role as the civil society representing people living with NCDs so that it becomes a reality.
Smoking, poor diet, heavy drinking, lack of exercise, and air pollution are some of the causes of the non-communicable diseases. More than 17 million people worldwide die from those diseases each year, despite the fact that the world aims to reduce the number of deaths by 50 million by 2030 and needs more than $8 trillion every year. Nuriat Agasaro, RTV News.
Thank you, New for that report. Now, while the Special Guarantee Fund says that in the last 10 years, it has spent 8 billion Rwandan francs, people across the country are requesting for that the issues to be found a sustainable solution. Now, the most common problems they expressed are related to animal attacking people from these places and unregistered or uninsured vehicles that knock people. Take a look. In areas near national parks, some rivers, lakes and forests with wild animals, people living there claim that these animals damage their farms and even harm them. It is while also in roads across the country, some get knocked by unregistered or uninsured cars and in some cases lose their lives. Vizui Teka Inyans, a resident of Kayenzi sector, Kamonyi district, was hit by a motorcycle in 2016 and was injured and permanently disabled. He didn't know how he got to the doctor since he had not regained consciousness for a month. The person who hit him left the motorcycle and ran away. He was not recognized. He says his case was filed, but up to this date, he hasn't received any compensation.
After he hit me, he sped off and I was left for dead. I don't recall how I got into an ambulance that took me to Chibagabaga, and after that I was transferred to Kanombe. I can't bend my leg and I lost a tooth. Now I have a disability. I went to the police and they gave me a court file, but that motorcycle that hit me is not registered.
People that live near parks, rivers and forests say that wild animals do come and damage their farms, but the compensation they receive does not match their loss, including their crops and other properties.
The problem we have is that the animals keep coming back to damage our property. They do compensate us, but we request that you advocate for us so that a fence can be built to shield us from them, because farmers do invest a lot of money and the seeds are expensive, along with paying for workers. Seeds from factories now cost 800 Rwandan francs, so farmers face significant losses.
They also pointed out that these compensations take long to be received, yet in some cases these animals left some with disabilities, hence it's difficult to cope.
My son, Enoch Ninzeimana, woke up in the morning and went to check on his farm. When he got there, he saw 3 buffaloes and one of them charged and trampled him to the ground. His back was injured and he has now begun to hear again. We have been waiting for compensation, but nothing has been done. He uses a cane to support himself while moving, and the furthest he can get to is the gate.
Concerning the damages caused by wild animals, local authorities are required to make a report of the loss or damages caused by those animals and then submit it to the Special Guarantee Fund, which will also come to carry out inspections. These officials say that sometimes when they give this report, the fund's employees are led to do the inspection, and by the time they come, the evidence is no longer there, making it difficult to compensate. The head of agriculture in the Gataraga sector, Tuyizere Jean-Pierre, says that this should be corrected and that the compensations provided should match the current prices on the market in Rwanda because the inputs are currently expensive.
There are times when you file the damages and the owner becomes impatient for inspections and harvests the potatoes, hence making it hard for compensation to be paid. We count the amount of wheat to be compensated, but he or she becomes impatient and starts to cultivate, which removes the proof of damage, hence no compensation, because if they demand for compensation and it takes a week or more for inspections to be carried out, then obviously it affects the farmer's business. That is why we want these institutions to show up as soon as possible, RDB and the SGF, and we all come together to agree on the compensation and start the procedure right away.
The Director General of the Special Guarantee Fund, Nzabonikuza Joseph, explains that the delay in compensation is due to various reasons, including not getting information on time.
When we receive a report from the local authorities of damages, inspections are to be done first before we compensate and verify that what is written in the report actually happened. We send our staff to inspect the place that was reported to be damaged and talk to the local residents. We look at the evidence he or she has presented. We check with these local authorities and then agree on the compensation. After we get all that we need, it doesn't take us any longer than 3 days to inspect the area.
ngo turenze icyumweru cyangwa iminsi nk'itatu ine tutaragerayo.
In the case of traffic victims, the citizen reports the accident, the police makes a written record of the accident and the witnesses, and documents showing all the money lost in medical care, travel, and the disability. The file is filed out by the citizen and sent to this fund and paid. Regarding the compensation money given to the people, Zawonikuza Joseph says that previously the calculated prices were updated once every 2 years, but in this budget for the year 2022-2023, they will be updated every quarter.
Tubona yuko ibiciro bigenda birushaho guhindagurika.
In recent years, we see that the prices are becoming more and more volatile, which made us decide to review them every quarter using the figures from the National Statistics Office or the information we get from the Agricultural Livestock Department so that the people get the right compensation.
Ingorane ikwiye.
The Special Guarantee Fund was started in 2012. In the last 10 years, the fund received 23,370 cases of animal attack victims. 21,632 cases have been paid for over 2.7 billion Rwandan francs. In those years, this fund has received 2,360 cases of people who were hit by vehicles, but 2,059 cases have been paid for more than 5.5 billion Rwandan francs. School principals say that they are well prepared for the new academic year, which starts on Monday. Some of the schools have even prepared beginning of term tests to assess the readiness of students. Olive Neti has this report.
On this Sunday, it was expected that boarding students across the country should be at their respective schools, but there are some of them who are still traveling. Some students who have already reached their respective schools say they are ready for the beginning of the term this Monday. We got all the materials needed. We are ready to study and succeed.
We have everything needed for the new school year.
Parents say that they have been preparing for the new school year by finding school fees and materials for their children. However, those with children in private schools say they are burdened with the increase of school fees, while in public and affiliate schools, fees were harmonized.
It's good and appropriate that the government has harmonized school fees, but parents with children in private schools are still facing challenges. But for me, I already got the money. I feel bad for the parents who have children in private schools because the fees are high. Nowadays, you find that children in primary schools are paying a big amount as those students in university. I pay 439,000 per term, yet I used to pay 280,000 per term.
In various schools, preparations are already done. Some of the heads of schools point out that school will resume this Monday, and there are some schools where tests will be conducted to assess the readiness of students.
We are here preparing to start the academic year 2022-2023, whereby you have prepared everything. We have new uniforms for our newcomers and the former ones. We have been preparing our teachers, having the seminars. So we are ready to start. So wherever the parent have any problem concerned with the fees, can come and we talk and we negotiate. So they are highly welcome.
Irere Claudette, the Minister of State in charge of ICT and TVET, urges parents and heads of schools to cooperate to advance the quality of education in this school year of 2022-2023. Let's fight together the issue of overcrowding. Let it be revealed as an issue. When we are charging parents money, let us do it at the national level. We did it with Mutual, where we set a contribution. If it's a big challenge, let the country take it and face it, but let's not make it difficult. And for example, find JS Gatunga is charging some money, and then you find another close school with a different amount. And you find that every school has its priority, yet we are burdening parents. The Ministry of Education and other partners in education urges parents to send students to school early to avoid any inconveniences such as missing out lessons. Heads of schools are requested to follow instructions set regarding school fees in public and affiliate schools. Olive Nete, RTV News.
All over the world, people living with disabilities have to overcome many challenges, not least of all discrimination in some instances, and here in Rwanda, it is no different depending on who they interact with and their mindset. Sport is one way of changing this, and our colleague Isabel Masozera sat down with Odanse Rugwiro, the president of the Rwanda Amputee Football Association, to ask him how it is being done. The following are brief extracts from that interview. Take a look.
Establish new team for women amputees, and last year in 2021, at the same time we launched junior program, which we see the future of amputee football in Rwanda is bright. To see the society where athletes with disability are recognized as capable and able, and where no Rwandan sees disability as inability. In the 5 years to come, LAFA want to see the society of Rwanda where athletes with disability are recognized as talented and capable, and where no Rwandan sees disability as inability. We want to increase the number of players who participate in sports, especially for women and young junior. We want to bring home medals and trophy for Rwanda. Like for now, we are focusing on the next African Cup of Nations, which we want to be the next African Cup champion.
Well, that story sums up tonight's bulletin. On behalf of the entire news production team, thank you so much for your company. I'm Jane Mutoni. Bye for now.